Hola amigos, Ghost here, and today we end our campaign into Secret Wars. Rejoining Group Leader McIntyre's force led DeeDee and Tommy back to Yugoslavia. But unlike the desperate situation they left, Tito's People's Liberation Army was driving back the Germans. And with DeeDee and Co.'s help, the liberation of Belgrade was not only possible, but it was achieved. Yugoslavia was finally freed, and with it, group leader McIntyre set his sights toward Berlin itself. Now, DeeDee and Tommy travel to Berlin to help end the war, and just as importantly, learn the ultimate fate of DeeDee's father. Let's do this!
It was difficult to believe we were actually at the outskirts of Berlin. The RAF Balkans men couldn't have been happier. We'd all lived through the filthy, brutal conflict with one thought buried deep inside. That one day, the war must end. I didn't share the general elation. In 41, I had been a carefree whiskey smuggler with a powerful sense of entitlement. By 45, Dorothy de Beck was a very different woman. I felt I was taking someone else's path through life, walking a road with two branches. One that had been chosen by McIntyre, the other by Night Owl. But somewhere, I must have taken a very wrong turn. In Azerbaijan, Yugoslavia, Poland, I couldn't quite remember. All wars must end, that seemed clear. But so many people had died. I felt an eerie chill in my bones. Surely such a monumental conflict could not end without one final blood sacrifice.
And she is not wrong because the Battle of Berlin was pretty bloody for a while. Throughout most of it, it was a very bloody affair. Alright, Transport SOE Officer. Captain John Edwards from the Special Operations Executive, the SOE, will parachute into Berlin to assess the situation on the ground. He has requested you as his pilot. Fly into the city undetected and ensure that the area is safe for him to make the jump. Do not allow Edwards to be injured or captured. Objectives: parachute officer onto marked point. Alrighty then. And it looks like the only aircraft that are available is the HE-111 bomber or the Soviet bomber or the British bomber. I'm going to use the German one since we are literally going into Berlin, and it'll probably be better to avoid getting attacked. Also, I notice we only have one more slot for an aircraft, so I'm assuming it might be like maybe the German jet fighter? Maybe? I don't know, we'll see. April 3rd, 1945. It is a great surprise and a great pleasure to make the acquaintance of John Edwards once more. I had almost forgotten that he had existed, that he would request me as his pilot is strange. But then we have experience of resisting danger together. I am amazed by the man's bravery. He is to voluntarily parachute into Berlin. His intelligence will be invaluable if he lives to deliver it.
It must be a pleasant surprise to meet an old friend, DeBeck.
How have you been, Captain Edwards? Where did we last see one another?
Sudieska, drowning in blood. Summer 43, you're as enchanting as ever.
This war has aged me 20 years. Are you here to observe?
You'll be parachuting the captain directly into the lion's den, DeBeck. Intelligence is a dangerous game, eh, Edwards?
True. War's aged me 30 years, DeeDee. I'm only 15, you know. Far too young to die.
The trick, DeBeck, to dropping secret agents in the enemy's capital is to stay unseen. There'll be no support if you're spotted.
Just for the record, chaps, I'm not a secret agent. I prefer the term professional mischief maker.
Then I'd better drop you somewhere mischievous.
Professional mischief maker definitely has a nice ring to it. Also, did he just say he's only 15? That's bullshit. I call bullshit. That has to be a joke. And again, folks, I can't hear the dialogue while I'm recording. I can hear it playing back, so I have no idea if he was joking around when he said that. But he better be bullshitting. Ain't no way with a portrait like that you're fucking 15. Bullshit. Also, it is actually crazy how they've low-key recreated Berlin. For the most part, at least from this time period, mostly correct. Especially with all the blown up and broken buildings. Because right now, Berlin is under siege. The Soviets have surrounded Berlin at this point in the war. And I think within a week, Mr. Mustache Man himself will be putting a bullet in his head. Ruh-roh. We just gotta keep moving, But yeah, I'm pretty sure Mr. Third Reich creator and lover, Mr. Hitler. Nope. Fuck. Why?
Hell, woman. We're spotted. Get us out of here. I can't make the jump with half the bloody Luftwaffe chasing me. Bit of a bumpy ride, but I've had worse. Thanks for the company, DeeDee.
My pleasure, mon ami. Take care.
That's enough flirting, DeeDee. Get back to base.
Don't tell me I have to go all the way back. Because that's... Of course, yep, okay. I don't even know how I got caught in the first place, but okay. We're going to possibly die here, folks. Because we are getting jumped by every fighter in Berlin. I don't know how I got caught in the end. Maybe I was too close to a searchlight? I don't know. Though if we could just keep bobbing and weaving, let the enemy get past us a bit, we might be able to just survive long enough. But anyway, like I was saying, I'm pretty sure Mr. Hitler dies, or kills himself in like 10 days? I don't remember when what day it was in April. I know it was like midway at best. There's one more fighter that I don't have to deal with. We are half damaged and we are, okay, we're above half damage. We're probably gonna die here. I might have to restart. But luckily y'all won't have to see that if I have to do that. Oh, there's ME-262s. No wonder they're just fucking me up. Yeah, we're gonna have to probably restart this. Survive. 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 I'm gonna die. Yep. Alright, I made it back to the original dropping the guy off. We should be in the clear this time around. Hopefully.
Bit of a bumpy ride, but I've had worse. Thanks for the company, DeeDee.
My pleasure, mon ami. Take care.
That's enough flirting, DeeDee. Get back to base.
Alright, now, I think the best course of scenario in this case is to hug the edge of the map for at least a moment. Granted, those fighters look like they're coming this direction, fuck. Okay, maybe we just come back the same way we got over here. Maybe that's a good way, those fighters are coming from that direction. Okay, this is, I mean, granted, I prefer, if we do get caught, I prefer it at this point, because we will at least be closer to actually getting the fuck out of here. Okay, okay, those fighters are going that way, and that fighter is turned around all the way. Okay, we're gonna have to go in a weird angle. Also, I kind of realized how I got spotted. The searchlights themselves are not what they detect you with. It's a ring around them, just like how the aircraft have a ring on the little map. But theirs is a lot harder to notice on the map. It's like only like a shade darker or lighter than the map around it. But with the fighters, it's actually noticeable on the map. I wonder if they did that on purpose for you to be like, okay, make sure you stay as far away as possible from one spot or another. Also, I realized I wasn't going as fast as I should be right here.
Hier spricht die deutsche
Oh,
Luftwaffe. Identifizieren Sie sich.
well, we've been spotted.
Letzte Warnung. Identifizieren Sie sich.
I prefer at this point because we are about, I want to say halfway at best, or least. And we have, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Don't be a constant stream, gosh dang it. We should be able to make it with this amount of health. Bob and weave, bob and weave, bob and weave, folks, bob and weave. We're gonna make it. Unless they pull some bullshit and hit us with a constant stream with so much damage, but we should make it. We should make it.
Hier spricht die deutsche Luftwaffe. Identifizieren Sie sich.
Adios, folks.
Identifizieren Sie sich.
Welcome home, DeeDee. That was a bloody good run. Let's hope Errol Flynn there can get the job done.
Whew, we did it. We have 4 stars, and we got a new plane, which is our final one. And if I remember correctly from the design, I believe that is the 262. And we just got a trophy bird collector. That must be all the aircraft you can collect. April 3rd, 1945. The Edwards drop was a great success. What a dashing fellow. I doubt that I shall see him again, but his example is indicative of the general feeling here, one of courage and hope, and a desire to see the last days of the war. Each one of group leaders, flyers, would give their life 10 times over to put an end to Hitler. I wonder what the final cost will be. Probably about like 50 to 100,000 more people, civilians, plus like 200,000 more soldiers, I think is how much the Battle of Berlin took, plus a little bit skirmishes and stuff that occurred during that in other areas and all that until the final surrender. So it's a decent amount of people. And it looks like our next mission is escaping generals. Senior Nazi officers are attempting to flee Berlin. These men must not be allowed to escape. Locate, engage, and destroy all German officers. Objectives: prevent Nazi generals from escaping Berlin. Interessante that we have a mission like this where we killed Nazi generals leaving. Considering the fact that there was actual secret operations from both the Soviets and the Allies to capture Nazi generals, scientists, and all sorts of people for intelligence and future use in the developing Cold War at that point. But anyway, and of course, I am going to. Excuse me. I do not remember seeing this jet bomber. Gotha 229. I'm pretty sure this jet bomber never existed in history. Or at least was built. I think it may have been a design, but I don't think it was ever built. The Messerschmitt 262, on the other hand, was built, but it wasn't used much. And it looks like, compared to the Soviet jet fighter, this one has a bit less agility, but firepower and speed make up for it, including endurance. And it looks like the Messerschmitt is just slightly better than the jet bomber. But yeah, I'm gonna use the Messerschmitt because it's a very interesting design. Also, the other aircraft was the British jet fighter, the Gloucester. I don't know how to pronounce it. Gloucester Meteor, and it actually is also pretty good. I think it's actually almost equal to the Yeah, it's exactly equal to it. Okay, that's interesting. Alright, but we're gonna use the Messerschmitt because it's recommended. Plus, I wanted to use it. Since we finally earned it. April 30th, 1945. Like an ant's nest poked with a stick, Berlin is swarming with panicked insects. The German brass must have been planning for weeks for their escape. They have riches and will try to find small, ignored, comfortable corners of the world in which to hide, to live out the last of their years. Unless we catch them before they reach safety, unless we kill them now with justice, we are all ready to take what revenge we feel necessary. For all the misery, all the horror, all the pain, these men must die.
Those cowardly Nazi officers are trying to escape. Our spies say the first one will be heading to a secret airfield near the Reichstag and Brandenburg Gate. Let's make sure he never leaves Germany.
Eliminate the general's aircraft, of course. 2 bombs and 4 rockets for the 262. Now, if I remember correctly, this aircraft was used very limitedly in combat. It used.
Approaching the airfield now. There's a plane leaving the tarmac. It must be German brass.
Blow him out of the sky.
Roger.
Bye bye. But yeah, it was used a little bit in combat, but mostly in other than that, mostly in reconnaissance. It wasn't really used much. Though it was a pretty cool design, and it did work from what I understand. There was like a couple dozen made and used in the war. In the last like year. Like, if I remember correctly, some were used in the Battle of the Bulge for recon. And the general's dead and his fighters are dead. I think we killed them so quickly the mission is still thinking that we're fighting them. So it might take a second for us to get our new objective.
Watch out for those Messerschmitts. Looks like they're armed with rockets.
Are those some? Yep, there's some 262s. Welcome, brethren. You think you were the only one?
Down you go, you bastard. There'll be one less pig at the trough tonight. Don't put your feet up yet. Another general is making a break for it. He's taking a staff car through Berlin. He's headed for the station in a convoy, DeeDee. Stop him before he reaches that train. There'll be heavy AA cover, so be careful.
How will I know which car he's in?
You won't. Hit 'em all.
Fair enough. Give me the, there they are. There are so many of them. Holy crap. I thought they were all going to stay in a convoy, but nope. They said we're going to last every man for themselves, basically. Ooh, I almost just crashed into the river. Alright, it looks like 2 more targets left. And I missed all of those. That's a-okay. Time to turn around. Lower our speed a bit. And do that. And now we can deal with the final one. By himself. There you are, buddy.
Convoy destroyed, Tommy. The general won't be catching that train whether it runs on time or not.
Hold up. More generals are being flown out in bombers. 3 of them this time. High ranking from the sounds of it. I've got this one. Can you handle the others?
No problem, Tommy. Let's finish this.
Alright. Time to take out these bastards once and for all. Now, usually, from what I remember correctly in history, they usually try to capture every general possible.
The first bomber is down. How are you doing?
Don't worry about me. You just concentrate on that second bomber.
So they can prosecute them, but, I mean, a bullet is basically what these generals are worth.
Tommy, where are you?
I'm taking hits, but I'll be fine. Get yourself back to me.
I see you, Tommy. Get out of there. I can finish him off.
No, he's too far away. My guns are jammed, but I won't let him get away.
Tommy, no. I'm on my way.
DeeDee, listen to me. Talk to McIntyre. He knows the truth about your father.
What? You're breaking up. I can't hear you.
I have to leave you now, DeeDee. I'm so proud of you. I think this is him. I can't let him get away.
Tommy! No! No!
Well, I did not think that's how he was gonna die. I had a feeling he was going to die at the end of all of this. Didn't think that's how he was, but okay. We took out all the generals and we lost Tommy in the process. We killed 3 escaping generals, 2 Focal Wolves, 2 262s, 2 Kuba wagons, 1 transport truck, or 1 transport and 4 trucks. And we gained 9 stars, and there's no new planes to be given. We took out a lot of high-value targets, but we lost Tommy. Let's just give her luck. April 30th, 1945. I cannot write. Tommy is dead. When I observed that any of us would die 10 deaths to stop Hitler and end the war, I didn't imagine that it would fall to Tommy to sacrifice himself. I cannot feel at all tonight.
The thought of losing Tommy had crossed my mind 100 times. Every time we took to the sky, there was the chance that one of us wouldn't come back. But it seemed so impossible. Tommy had always been there. No matter how selfish or bad-tempered I had been as a girl, Tommy always had been exactly where I needed him. He was more important than the sky to me. Now he was gone and I was truly, utterly alone. I cried. I was numb. Berlin burnt around me as I tried to find some tiny fragment of my life to cling to. But there was nothing left but ashes. It was only later that I realized that Tommy had always been my father. Guillaume de Bec was just a story. I had followed that story across the world, and Tommy had been with me every step of the way. It was so obvious. Tommy, I'm so sorry. You were my father, and I love you. There was one thing left to do, to see how the story ended. Tommy had told me that McIntyre knew the truth, so I challenged him. His proud demeanor instantly evaporated, and his shoulders slumped with the relief of knowing he could finally unburden himself. He must have been waiting to do so since that first day we had met in Tobruk.
Muy interessante. May 1st, 1945. I am still numb from my loss. Tommy's last words involved group leader's name. It seems that group leader has always known what happened to my father. It seems that he is the only one who knows. So I will confront him and learn the truth once and for all. And despite that, in the end, Tommy was low-key her father no matter what, because he took care of her when her real father wasn't there. And yeah, I mean, R.I.P. to Tommy, despite him going back to being drunk for a while and vengeance hungry. It seems like, at least for this story, the two of them really cared for each other as family. And the story did depict that as best as it could, given the writing and dialogue and how much time we were able to give with these characters. But yeah, let's see what happened to her father.
What do you know of Egyptian politics, DeeDee? Forgive me for being patronizing, but I shall assume you know very little. After the Great War, Egypt was still a British protectorate, firmly under the guiding hand of the Empire. Of course, the locals weren't always happy about this arrangement. There had been dissent, nothing the politicians could handle. After the exiled Tsar ruled, the rabble roused the firebrand. The mood turned decidedly ugly. The revolution was in the air, and I was asked to try and nip it in the bud. Discreetly, of course. It's my speciality. We knew where some of the most prominent agitators lived, forming them flams far to us. There were other methods open.
You were carrying chemical weapons.
As per Peterson's letter, yes. Our mission was quite simple. Escort the bombers carrying an experimental concoction and ensure they delivered their payload to the target.
This wasn't a military target, was it?
There is no such thing as a non-military target, lassie.
My father would have had no part in such a cowardly attack.
What makes you so sure? You never knew the man.
I just know.
Sadly, your instincts are right. The Beck had been erratic for some time, especially where this sort of mission was concerned. I suspect Father had rather changed his outlook. Suffice to say, he kicked up quite a stink when he saw the target was a civilian village.
Of course he did. What you were planning was no better than the Nazis.
You are as naive as he was. A soldier's job is to follow orders, nothing more. Leave the moral quandaries to those who see the bigger picture.
Yes, following orders, as if they, wipes away the slate.
He attacked his own planes. Pilots he knew, his comrades.
He was doing what was right. If the gas had been dropped, that would be mass murder.
No, he was insane. He disobeyed direct orders and attacked his own squadron. Death was too good for him.
It was you.
Oh. Wow.
Please understand, DeeDee. I took no pleasure in my actions, any more than I would have taken pleasure in dropping gas on women and children.
You murdered him. You shot him down.
Just as he shot down his fellow pilots. Just as you have shot down so many fathers and sons, brothers and husbands. War is an engine of necessity that makes killers of us all. That is what your father could never understand, DeeDee. If you think you can emerge from battle without blood on your hands, you are as much a fool as he was.
May 1st, 1945. I cannot believe it. Group leader killed my father himself. I do not know what to do. I have a knife and I have a gun. I could kill the man where he stands, but Tommy would not murder a man, and I don't believe Galami would either. I don't know what to do. Oh? Is that the end? Oh, never mind. There is one more. Okay, that was weird. It didn't go straight to the next mission. It just brought me back here. Okay, there's one more left. Okay. All I gotta say is, like, they for a moment I thought they were gonna redeem that British guy's character because it seemed like he called off the gas attack in that other flashback mission, but clearly he's as bad as the Nazis. You're a soldier, you just have to follow orders, as if that somehow wipes the slate clean or your hands clean of the blood you shed. Sometimes you should not follow orders if it means mass murder. I am surprised this game has the courage to even talk about this subject. And it's crazy that we actually had to control him to kill her father. That is, wow. Honestly, I'm lost for words. I did not think that they were going to go this route. Honestly. The fall. Berlin is falling. Russian forces stand poised to seize control of the Reichstag, but the Luftwaffe will stop at nothing to prevent this from happening. This is the most important mission you will ever fly. Protect the Russians. Engage any and all German forces. God help us all. Objectives. Assist Soviet capture of the Reichstag building. And we will use the Messerschmitt once more. May 2nd, 1945. It is the final battle. We will end the Nazi threat. The war will finally be over. God help us. And I will make my decision. Once the battle is fought, group leader will still be in the air, and I will have a chance to do what I will. What I will. Will I shoot him down? Will I let him live? I do not know. My only wish now is to survive long enough to find out.
No, you don't like me, DeeDee. But the whole behind the pilot like yourself. You understand it's no easy decision. I'll be leaving this mission myself. Can I count on you to follow orders?
You can count on nothing, McIntyre. But I have no intention of walking away from this battle. I will fight, but for my own reasons.
See? I suppose I'm asking for nothing more than that. Get in the air and wait for the orders. The Russians are taking the Reichstag. Germany will have no choice but to surrender. You'll be providing air support and keeping the skies clear of enemy fighters.
I think I can manage that to end the war.
I realized I didn't have my rockets out. If it gives me the option, I will be killing that son of a bitch. Not for revenge, for our DeeDee in canon revenge for DeeDee, his father or anything. It's more just like, man's literally no better than the Nazis he's fighting. Because literally the Nazis would use, those who survived and were prosecuted would use that fucking defense. And yeah, it ain't gonna fly at all. That does not fly at all with me.
All enemy fighters destroyed.
Not yet. There's another squadron coming in.
How far did these suckers go? Come on, you bastard. It's time for you to die. Come on. Ah, damn it. Alright, you know what? Screw it. Slowing power down. War Thunder style. Come on, get ahead of me. Die.
That's the last of them. What's happening on the ground?
The Russians are reporting good progress. Stay focused. There are more fighters inbound. The Nazis aren't giving up yet.
Third wave is usually the final wave.
Germans are sending jet fighters our way. This complicates matters considerably.
Worry about your own flying, McIntyre. I know what I'm doing.
Some jet fighters versus jet fighters. Let's go. And it looks like there's 4 of them. Oh, they tried to do the same tactic to me, them bastards. I respect it. I'll respect it, low-key. Oh! Holy shit! I did not know they would one-shot me. I mean, I guess it makes sense. But holy shit. That is too funny. I was not expecting to get one shot by a rocket. Alright, note to self, stay out of their front of line. I am not trying to get rocketed. Oh! They can one-shot me, I'm afraid. Come on. Aha! I got him. Oh, I missed. Oof. This bastard trying to do it to me again. Voila.
The Reichstag has fallen. The Nazi high command is in tatters. All that I have fought for.
Forgive me if I don't feel like celebrating.
After all you've seen, I'd hoped you would have gained a little perspective on such matters.
And what of a soldier who kills his comrades? What sort of soldier is he?
I see your girlish weakness hasn't quite been erased by your training. No matter. We'll clear the airways and roll back on the ring with a stiff drink.
I'd sooner die of thirst than drink with you, you callous monster.
Execute Order 66. Please tell me I can kill him. Come on. Come on. Die.
Support? You? You and your kind? English, German, Russian? It doesn't matter. You throw people to the flames and justify it to yourself with pompous political abstractions. I should leave you here to die, or shoot you down myself.
Damn you, girl. How many pilots have you killed? If you don't help me, you'll have your petty revenge, but you'll be making the same bloody decision I
Oh no, I'm helping them. You're dying.
So, you've made your choice.
Did you really think I'd let you live after all you've taken from me? Die, you monster!
There is.
Damn you, the big.
So be it. You made your choice 25 years ago when you killed my father. Now I've made my choice. Goodbye, group leader.
Bam! We have completed the fall. The Soviets have captured the Reichstag, and the Germans will soon surrender. And we killed the bastard who killed our father. Partially for revenge in DeeDee's case, and for me, because he dare use I was just following orders type beat. Yeah, that ain't gonna fly. We took out 6 BF 109s, 11 110s, 7 Focal Wolves, 2 trucks, 2 262s, and 4 Tiger tanks. And we gained 14 stars even though it doesn't matter. But there we go. May 2nd, 1945. And so it ends. I made my choice, for good or ill. Not for Guillaume, not for Tommy, not for Night Owl or Clive, for myself. The war is over, as is group leader's secret war. Most importantly, my war is over. I have absolutely no idea what I will do now.
So the war had ended. Apparently we won. The newspapers declared it a victory, but all I could see was relief etched into faces drawn too thin, too haunted by years of suffering to cheer and smile. I take solace in the fact that Tommy and Clive, and all the many others who fell along the way, did not die in vain. I couldn't see it at the time, but now I realize that what seemed like horrific, senseless acts were small, painful steps along a necessary road. And I was not alone for long. Captain John Edwards and I found ourselves in the rubble of Berlin, dazed by the abrupt advent of peace. At first, I was just glad of a pair of arms to fall into. I think he was too. But before we knew what was happening, we were married and building a future together. I think Tommy would have approved. He liked John when they met. I think he reminded Tommy of Guillaume, a more sober version of Guillaume, perhaps. I miss you, Tommy, and Clive, and Ivana, and all you others. Perhaps I should raise one final toast to the memory of those horrible, incredible times after all. Tally-ho, into the drink again.
And with that, we have completed Air Conflicts, Secret Wars. And I gotta say, overall, a solid game. Will say I still prefer Pacific Carriers over this game, but this game was not bad at all. I would probably give it a 6 or 7 out of 10. And remind you, 5 out of 10 for me is average. That should be how it always should be. But some people say 7 is average. But honestly, for me, it's 6 at its lowest and 7 at its highest. The gameplay was serviceable. There were some missions that I flat out hated. Some of them were annoying and were difficult for no reason or did some bullcrap that just messed with me. But there was also some that were pretty solid. Um, some of the ones that were like major battles and stuff together, it felt like an actual war of sorts. Oh, and we're back in the main screen again. But some of the fight camp missions, like the battle for Berlin, battle for Belgrade, when we had a bunch of fighters with us, or escorting bombers, those kind of missions I liked. And then some of the other ones where we had to kill infantry or do certain smuggling or secret missions were kind of boring, or it's very much it just depended on the mission for me. Some of them were good, some of them were bad, some of them were mediocre, and some of them were unfair, like that one where Basically, you had to kill the enemy fighters, even though your AI ally is supposed to do that for you while you escape. And that some of the mission objectives were a little unclear at times, like when we were supposed to shoot at our friendlies but not actually kill them. It didn't mention that. It just said to mess with them. So yeah, so gameplay wise, it was decent. I still think Pacific Carriers very much refined the gameplay of this type of arcadey simulation type gameplay. I think this one it was solid, but I think Pacific Carriers did do it better. Story wise, I was quite surprised. I ain't gonna lie. I it was pretty decent. I don't know really what kind of moral, like full on moral story it was trying to say per se, because there was kind of multiple different things, like uh, how war changes people, how some people may be just following orders or fighting for a certain ethnic group or anything. Because I'm surprised they mentioned like the Balkan racial tensions and violence that occurred during the resistance movement. Uh, it also showed the secret, or not secret, more hidden and not really talked about resistance fight groups and stuff. Some smuggling operations here and there. Russian collaborators, French resistance. It showed a lot of things I didn't think this game would really show and talk about in one way or another, and I liked that it did that. I do think they could have handled those topics more so if this game had came out nowadays. Obviously, this game came out, if I remember correctly, 2010, 2011 at best. And back then, it was video game storytelling. It very much depended from studio to studio on the type of game it was. Because we did have some good storytelling games back then too, but for this type of arcadey simulated aircraft conflict type of game, the story was not just serviceable, but it also provided some things to think about or teach people. Because I doubt people would know about the Slovak uprising. I knew of it somewhat. I just didn't know actually the whole thing, and it actually made me look it up and look into it a little bit more. It shows things like the resistance in the Balkans that some people may not know about, or the siege of Tobruk, or the more about the French resistance. Obviously, the French resistance are more popular in media with World War II, but not all of them, not all of it. And it's just, it was great for that type of stuff to be in this game. It talks conflicts about alcohol abuse, low key, talks about soldiers following orders, even though I hate that excuse for committing certain crimes and stuff in war. What are you willing to sacrifice in war? There's just so many things that this story tackles that for the time that it was written, they did pretty well. Now, if it was written nowadays, I would have hoped they would have add more to it. If this game somehow was remade into a better graphics engine, better combat, and a voice acting, everything, I think it could have been more stuff could have been added to it if it was released said this year or last year. But since this is an older game, I'll excuse the sort of surface level slightly pushing into the deeper ends of conversations about these certain topics. The voice acting, um, it's solid. When I'm able to hear it when I'm looking at the footage. That is another thing I want to mention. I'll get to it in a moment, but the voice acting seemed pretty good. The dialogue seemed pretty good. There was a few cutoffs here and there I noticed, and I also noticed that with the journal entries as well as some typos here and there. Definitely some things that could have been fixed before this game was a release back in the day, but obviously back in that time, games were released and weren't usually given updates like this. Like I said, I don't remember what console this generation this came out on. if this game did come out in 2010, I think it would have been PS3, early PS3, but it could also been a PS2 game that was ported into PS3. But things like that, I would excuse. I would excuse because it's an older game, but if it was a new game, I wouldn't. Still, I feel like with the sort of PlayStation 4 port slash PlayStation 5 port, they could have fixed some of those not graphical errors, those dialogue errors or those text errors in one way or another. But it is what it is. Um, Graphics wise, it's solid. I think Pacific Carriers upgrades the graphics just slightly more compared to this game, but this game was pretty solid. I do love the black and white filter for the World War One, just to show it's different time period for people that may be playing this game and be not knowing that that was actually set in the past, even though obviously it is. Those missions were set in the past. They're even called flashback missions if you look at the replay mission area. And I love how the Secret War is the last flashback. That's kind of cool. But yeah, with that, with the with the dialogue, the voice acting, the music, the little bit of it I could hear at times was solid, but there was also an issue with the audio. So if you take a look at options, I have music volume at 0. If I put this up at 10, oh, because it goes up to 100, if I put this up at 10, it will drown out my voice in the recording. It's somehow that loud, even at its lowest setting. And even with the sound volume, I only had it at 50 because for some reason the audio files is so loud in this. Besides the graphics, the voice acting, the story, and the gameplay, glitches and graphical issues, it's an old game. I don't expect the PlayStation 4 or 5 port to somehow fix code and glitches from all the way back then. But there were definitely certain things that probably could have been fixed or somehow enhanced or improved while doing so. Like I said, with the some text being not there and such like that. Um, what else was I thinking about? Uh, oh yeah, I do find it weird that I couldn't hear the dialogue throughout the game unless I replay my recordings. I don't know why it does that. I have no idea if it does that. If it doesn't do that, if like I unplug my headphones and undo all the recording stuff, if it somehow will have the regular dialogue being played and actually we can hear it. But again, it's an old game. I won't judge it too harshly nowadays because of that. But yeah, I think overall that is all I have to say about this game, to be honest. Like I said, at the lowest is a 6 out of 10, at its highest it's a 7 out of 10. It definitely is aged in certain ways, obviously with graphics, but with some of the combats and some of the mission setups, it's definitely aged a bit. Clearly, with Pacific Carriers, they did attempt to make it more varied. Now, granted, it's been over 4 years since I played that Pacific Carriers, so there may have been some missions that were just repeats, basically, as well. But at least with that game, they were trying to focus and concentrate on specific types of missions, on specific types of storytelling with certain battles and such. And this game tries to sort of tell a story throughout. Sometimes the story kind of disconnects here and there, but at the same time it doesn't or does. It's a little weird. It's still a decent story, and I think it's serviceable and all that. So yeah, that is basically my review of the game overall. Uh I will say it's like only $8 at most on PlayStation. It's usually on sale almost every sale that there is that PlayStation offers. It's usually on sale for like $1 or $2. So I will say if you want to play an arcade simulator air combat game, I recommend the Pacific Carriers first. If you already played Pacific Carriers or want to play more than just Pacific Carriers, then I would recommend this game after that. And it's up to you if you want to pay the $8 or the $1 or $2 on sale. So yeah, a solid game, 6/7 out of 10. It has been a blast to play it. There were a few downside moments and a lot of good side moments. I loved all the aircraft we were able to use, and the fighter combat was enjoyable many of the times. Fighting dogfights and everything was nice. And yeah, the only other thing I could say is I don't know how many chapters this series will be and how I'm going to edit it all the way at the moment. It could be like 2 chapters per campaign. Some campaigns could be 1 chapter. I don't know yet. Obviously, I've yet to actually set up the editing process for the entirety of all of these recordings I've done for it, but yeah. Like I said, I'm just that honestly that's all I have left to say. And whether this series is like 10 chapters, 12 chapters long or less, it was still a blast to play. The campaigns were decent, the story was decent, the gameplay was decent. There's some issues here and there, but it didn't detract too much for the type of game this was created back in the day, playing it nowadays. So, like I said, 6 to 7 out of 10. If you want to buy it, I'll say it's up to you. On sale or a full price of $8, and I would definitely still recommend Pacific Carriers over this game first, and then if you want to play this. So yeah, I may have just repeated myself like 20 times. That's what happens when I ramble on these reviews, but yeah, that's all I got to say. So yeah. And with that, we conclude our campaign into Secret Wars. Despite the glitches, typos, and some dated level design, Secret Wars was actually a pretty fun game that surprised me with some of its narrative topics. I had a blast making this series, and I hope you all enjoyed today's finale and the series as a whole. Until next time, this is Ghost, signing out.